and we're back. This is our first day back. And so for me, it was probably, and I've had some amazing times during the vacation, but this was probably the best, I think. And primarily because I did exactly what I wanted to do, and that was nothing. Nothing. I slept in late. I worked out. I slept in. I worked out. I did a little work around the house that I needed, things I needed to finish up there. But just really that whole week, totally, I did what Jesus did. I went up to the mountain or out into the woods to pray to see what God's will for me. It was so relaxing. It was so nice. And so I turned down all invitations this year, this past holiday, Christmas, New Year's, time off. I just had time to myself. I saw someone that I had not seen in a while. And so we were just talking, hey, how you doing? All is well, what you been up to? Oh, this and that. And I never didn't know what type of work they did. As long as I've been knowing them, I never knew the type of work. So I asked, we were talking about work. I told them we were off and blah, 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 right? So I asked, what type of work do you do? And they said, what's the name, that word they use for selling drugs? Pot.
A drug dealer?
Yeah, but they call it something if you sell pot. It's a fancy name.
Oh, I've heard them called bud tenders.
No. So what's your... Something like that, dispensary or something.
Oh, okay, yeah, like someone that works at a dispensary.
Yeah, and I said, no, I asked them, what was your career? They said, I'm a dispensary or something like that. I'm like, what is that? I'm a dispensary. I'm like, what do you do? What does that mean? I sell pot. I said, what? Your career is that you sell pot? And I couldn't believe it. That was my first time ever hearing anyone say that their career is selling pot. That's what they do for a career. How you tell your mama, I get up every day and go to work and sell pot? I said, you sell pot? I asked. He's like, yeah. I'm like, what the? That's a job? And they said, yeah. So I asked, do you have a pot farm out in Riverside somewhere? And no, I work right here in L.A. I work in this big factory. I work for someone selling pot every day. And they showed me a picture of where they work. It was a big building with a whole lot of pot. And the pot had different names. I'm like, why does it have different names? Well, marijuana is for medical reasons. And different different marijuana things do different things for you. It's medical, it's healthy, it's this. I'm like, what the? Have you ever heard of anyone that get up every day and their job is to go to somebody else's building and sell pot? They're like, I love it. I've been doing this for a long time. I'm like, what the? So I asked, do you get high every day? And they're like, yeah. I'm like, are you high now? No, it was a little earlier, so they weren't high. But I never imagined that one day that selling pot would be called a career. I wonder, do you have to get a degree for that? But I never had bacon burger.
Bacon burger, now it's bacon peach cobbler.
Bacon peach...
Cupcake.
Bacon cupcake. What the? It's all good, though.
No, it was so good, man. It's like a cupcake, but the filling was peach cobbler, and she cooked all of it in some sort of bacon concoction, and then she added a little piece of bacon on top with a little piece of cobbler for decoration. It was real nice.
Well, when she sent me one, I am going Muckbang on that. Have you ever heard of Muckbang?
No, what does that mean? Oh, Muckbang, you talking about
I'm going Muckbang on her. Custodio. For those who don't know what a Muckbang is, and I had not heard of it until my producer introduced it to me, in simple terms, it is a live stream video where viewers watch the host eat Muckbang is characterized by the banquet-sized portion consumed during the streaming. Watch this compilation, folks. Hold on, Brian.
Muckbangs. Even if you haven't witnessed one, you probably recognize the name. There are videos showing their creators eating an insane amount of food while they talk to the camera about their problems or whatever else is on their mind.
When you eat like that, you ain't got that on your mind.
So it's all Asian?
It's all like it. Have you heard of that, Brian?
Oh yeah, all I'm seeing, I'm in my imagination right now is just your face smacking on some peach cobbler.
Oh, you weren't able to
cupcakes.
see it, huh?
No, I'm on the phone. I can't see it.
Oh,
Well, he can hear it.
I can hear lips smacking.
That's how I was when I was eating the pig feet.
I love pig feet, by the way. Pig feet is delicious.
It was so good. Had you heard of Muckbang before?
I have. I've heard of the word, and I know it's like this whole thing.
Here's a little history about or the story of one Muckbang YouTuber. This from Insider. Since 2016, Nicholas Perry's consumption of entire fast food menu has captured the attention of YouTube. Watch this from Sunny V2 and The Petty Show.
It's my first ever mukbang.
Nikocado Avocado's real name is Nicholas Perry. Growing up, he learned of his adoption at a young age and struggled to make sense of it. This led to him bouncing between therapists and prescribed antidepressants all before he turned 7. Along the way, Nikocado Avocado came to terms with his preferences and came out as gay in his teens.
As mukbangs became the dominant video type on his channel, his weight would begin to steadily increase. And Nikocado Avocado began to eat more and more in every single video posted to the channel.
So without further ado, let's make some mac and cheese. Bye.
My weight's been spiraling. Life is a disaster.
There's no cure.
Yada, 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 yada. When I started Muckbangs, I was 150 pounds, maybe 160. Can't really remember.
His platform only increased. More and more people began tuning in to see this train wreck. Eventually, you get the vibe from watching these videos that he's not really doing well. In September 2021, he announced that he had fractured one of his ribs while sneezing and now weighs close to 400 pounds.
Wow.
What the?
I'm glad you're getting a taste of this guy because I feel like we've been watching him for a while, and it's time you know of this trauma.
That is amazing. He just went from one trauma to another one. He got fat.
Big time.
Right on TV, on YouTube, wherever. Somebody should have told him that eating is not the way out. Food is not the answer to spiritual issues. Food is not the solution to anger. His face got fat, big old cheek, fat cheek. Wow, right in front of the world. What a mess. Maybe he had not heard of Alan Watts. Or maybe he had not heard of the kingdom of heaven. Or maybe he had not heard that in order to live, you must die. The old nature has to die in order to live. You can't feed it anything. You must let that old nature, spiritual nature, which is of the devil, die. There's no way around it. Somebody should have told this guy. What the Nicholas Perry? Poor Nicholas Perry. Don't blame him. Well, somebody need to find him and let him know he can't eat his way out of this. He can't mudbang out of this. He must be born again. He must die in order to live. Spiritual death. not physical, but spiritual death. Here's what AlanWatts.org has to say about it. Alan Watts asked, this is so deep, pay attention. All right? Alan Watts asked, what should you do if every night, what would you do if every night you should dream in a dream you wanted to dream? Watch this from the Journal of Purpose. This is deep. Watch this.
I wonder what you would do if you had the power to dream at night any dream you wanted to dream. You would, I suppose, start out by fulfilling all your wishes. Love affairs, banquets, dancing girls, wonderful journeys. And then after a couple of months, you would be getting a little taste for something different. And you would move over to an adventurous dimension where there were certain dangers involved and the thrill of dealing with dangers. And after you'd done that, what could you take? What dimension of being lost, of abandonment of your power, what dimension of that could you stand? You could ask yourself this because you know you'd eventually wake up. And finally, you would dream where you are now. You would dream the dream of living the life that you are actually living today, of playing that you weren't God.
That is deep. That is like mind-blowing, hallelujah deep. That's so good. Alan Watts. Wake up, folks. You are asleep. You are sleeping. All the things you think you want is death. It's not life. In your sleep, you're having the wrong dreams. Your eyes are open, but you're asleep. Black men, not all but most, are not weak because of some white man. Black men are weak because they have been destroyed by their mothers. They have the woman's nature. That's why they're so easy to anger. They snap just like a woman at every situation rather than overcoming the situation. I want to give you an example that is happening in my country as a result of women taking over. I'm using words like taking over and attacking, but women are not taking over. Men are handing it over to them. Because the power is in the male, it's not in the female. And if the male didn't give up the power, the female cannot take it. It's like white men are giving up their country out of fear. It's not like somebody's taking it away from them, but due to the fear they have, their country's been taken, and they're handing it over to them because of the fear of what people are going to think, what they're going to say, what they're going to take from me. And that's the fear in you telling you that. Well, they're going to take this away from you. And you're like, oh, okay. What a mess. In the white countries around the world. Here's an example, and we mentioned this yesterday. A friend of mine sent me this on my cell phone. Thank you, friend. He texted to me. We mentioned the Seattle airport bathrooms. According to WNG.org, Seattle Airport debuted its first all-gender restroom as part of an estimated 62 million restroom renovation project. Watch this from Port of Seattle.
All gender restrooms. It actually includes 10 different ceiling to floor stalls, all private. And then around the corner, we've got frosted windows that cover up the urinal space. The common space within the all-gender restroom is basically over here where our restroom and hand washing stations are. If you'd rather have a men's or women's restroom or even a family restroom, those are available a couple of gates down on either side.
It's one thing off the list that I don't have to think about when I'm going to travel. It's so respectful. And that on my experience, and even the ones I've had that have been terrible, was being recognized and respected and honored and seen.
Pure evil. How many men walk around and think, oh, I'm being so respected because now I got a transgender bathroom. I can go in and take a pee. Just think about this. Who sit around and think, well, let me build a bathroom where everybody have to go into? Who? You know that's evil. Whatever happened to men restroom, women restroom? And if y'all want to push this transgender thing, build a transgender restroom, but they don't want to go in there anymore. Whatever, right? But why you got to put them all together? For what? What's the reason? The reason is to create a war, to bring on more problems, to bring on more fighting between the people, human beings. This is going to be nothing but create a war between human beings. They want you fighting. They did this to create battle between human nature, human beings, so they can create more laws and take control of you. There's no real reason for this except that. And so I have decided that I still, as far as voting, I'm a Republican voter, right? But I will not ever vote for the Republican Party again except for Donald Trump. I'll vote for Trump. That's about it. There's nothing else about the Republican Party that would cause me to vote for it. Zero. Except for Donald Trump, he got my vote. The Republican Party is no different than the Democratic Party. They just have two different names, but the people who run the party, the representatives, the people who run the Republican Party are all the same as the Democrats. They're no different. They're about self. They're not about the voters. They're about themselves. And they're lying to you when they say that they're for the voters. They're not. Number one, they haven't done anything in the last almost 4 years now to make the country better. Zero. They're voting with the Democrats. They're giving the money to Ukraine and everywhere. And our borders are wide open. Everything is still horrible. But one thing that stands out about the Republican Party, they emulate the Democratic Party. They are now voting in women, and they know that that's wrong, but they're doing it because for the fulfillment of their own ego and the destruction of America. I want to show you the person, the female that they replaced George with or working on it. This is from Time. This is going to blow your mind. This is going, and she's black. Not a black male, a black female. Bless you. Time of Israel reported GOP pick Ethiopian born, not even born in this country, Ethiopian born Israeli American to run for seat to expel New York Representative George Santos. Watch this from CBS.
Local Republicans have picked their candidate to succeed George Santos in Congress. Nassau County legislator Mazi Pilip has been selected to run in the special election for New York's 3rd congressional district. Pilip, who was born in Ethiopia, migrated to Israel when she was 12 and served in the Israel Defense Forces before moving to the U.S. She is a registered Democrat, but ran for the legislature there in Nassau County on the Republican line.
I am the example of the American dream.
She's a mother, she's a soldier, she's a legislator.
An immigrant, a woman of color.
This is a very historic moment for me and my family. My beautiful 7 children that have not supported tax hikes. I fully funded our police. Let's rebuild our economy and secure our borders and support our police and support Israel and other allies.
I'm done with the Republican Party. I'm done with them. They looked up and down the earth, and the only thing they can find is a black female who was not even born in America. No other white male, no other black male, no other Mexican male, but a black female. The Republican Party is evil. They are not for you. That woman got 10 children, she said. She need to be at home watching over that man's children. And what type of man is he that he would let his wife go and work? And with that many children, too. This is from Wikipedia about Mazi Pilip, whatever her name is. As to the criminal charges against Donald Trump, Pilip has said Trump has to go through his process. Nobody above the law, according to Wikipedia. And you put that in charge as a representative of the Republican Party. According to Wikipedia, Pilip is in favor of continued U.S. support for Ukraine. Rhino. Pilip is in favor of continued U.S. support for Ukraine. It's over for my country. The attack on men is worth an abortion. And the conservative women are no different than the liberal women. Zero. They just have different name titles. That's it. In their hearts, they hate men. They hate men. And I got proof of that. Here's what Rosanne Barr, I had her on the Father's State. I enjoyed talking to Rosanne. Here's what Rosanne Barr and Marjorie Taylor Greene said about women. Watch this from Rosanne Barr.
And I really think that the women are finally going to get it. And the women, the young mothers and grandmas, we're going to figure it out because we know how to do everything. Because we do everything.
We need strong men, and I think many of them...
We need strong men that listen to women. That's the big difference, ain't it?
It is.
The older I get, the more I see how that's just why they always lose, because they don't listen to the older women who know what in the hell's going on and raised them anyway.
I agree.
Right?
Right. Good mothers.
Be enough of a man to listen to your mother and your grandmother. That's how you get smart.
That's right. It's also biblical.
It is very biblical.
Yes, you gotta obey your mother.
That's a lie. And the reason we're in this trouble because men have listened to the woman, the older and the young woman. And every time the man listens to the woman, he and the world suffers. And that woman, Marjorie Greene, looked like Marjorie Taylor Greene, whatever that. She looked like she really didn't agree with Rosanne was saying, but she was too weak not to go all the way with it. But men, you should not be listening to women. The attack on men is an attack on God. And Satan knew it, and he worked through women and weak men to do it. I have an example of that according to Newsweek. Will Farrell has ruffled some feathers with his comments at an event celebrating women. Watch this from the Hollywood Reporter.
Welcome, everyone, to the Hollywood Reporter 2023 Women in Entertainment Breakfast. Woo! This is such a wonderful event where we honor and support and continue to fight for women in all facets of the entertainment world. But you know what? Forget about the entertainment world. Isn't it just time? Isn't it just time for women to run the planet? I mean, I'm not just trying to placate you, I swear. But
what a beta male.
I don't know
See?
what else to do because we, men, we've been running the show since what, 10,000 BC, something like that? And we're not doing so good. So please, can you guys just take over? Can you? I think it's time. Sorry.
What an evil man. What an evil, evil man with his mother's nature. He's blind. He's pushing evil by pushing women. And begging them to take over. What a weak man. Evil. And you will suffer. Just as you're already suffering within. As I mentioned, this is common among young people. Watch this from Instagram.
How many female-dominated industries can you think of that aren't related to sex or beauty?
Not a lot, and that should change.
How do we change that?
Let women take over.
Most female-dominated industries are sex or beauty related, correct?
Yes. That's the way things are right now. That should change.
Well, right, but why would women want to give up their power if they can use it to,
Because it shouldn't be the only power that we're able to hold in society.
Well, whether it should
When you don't give women a fair chance to gain power, they're going to do whatever it takes.
Well, is there anything stopping women from getting power any other way?
Yes, men.
Well, I mean, but men also give women their power, correct?
Not enough of it.
If all the men in the world were gay, how would women get power?
Because they're women.
What does that mean?
They're strong and better than men.
Well, right, but I'm saying if women couldn't use sex to control men, then how would they get power?
Skip.
See how dumb she is? Her daddy didn't guide her or isn't guiding her. Her mother isn't guiding her in the right way. And no human being can give you power, dummy. Power does not come from people, places, or things. But that's what my country is headed toward. You think the country has been in trouble? It ain't over yet. And they really don't want Trump in there. Watch this compilation.
What would a second Donald Trump term look like?
Well, he cannot be the next president.
You can't imagine the things that he's going to do.
We're going to see violence, the likes of which we didn't even see on January 6th.
Make it illegal to run against him, to throw his opponents in jail, to shut down the media.
Terminate the Constitution.
To rewrite the Constitution.
Create mass internment camps.
Destruction of the Justice Department as we know it.
The Justice Department could be entirely transformed.
I am really concerned about that.
Might be sent to jail or their rights might be suppressed, especially minority groups in society.
You might have any number of things happen to you and your family.
Every one of us, our freedom, our liberty, none of us is safe.
It's going to have people around him executing against an enemy's list.
Assassinate generals.
Ordering troops to attack American citizens.
Trump's very well armed and extremist base will try to kill people.
Amazing. Have you ever seen these people afraid of one man other than Jesus Christ like this? They're lying. They're making he's going to just take over the world. It's amazing to see it, but I understand evil. And human beings are evil until they overcome, until their nature changes. I don't care who it is, they're evil. Look around you. Look at yourself and look around you. You'll see. Nothing but evil. It's not love. It's crazy, but I understand it's hell on earth. It is the Old Testament outside of you, inside of others in this world. There was some of you may be aware of this because I believe it's all over the internet now. I know I saw it on the news. They are attacking the blacks, not all but most, are attacking even the judges in the courthouse now because they've been told that it's racism to put you in jail. It's racism for you to be in jail. And then they got all these women taking over, which is unfortunately, because it's not going to help the situation at all. If anything, it's going to encourage the situation even more so. Think about this. Smoke on this. Men and women already hate their mothers, right? They can't handle the evil that comes through their mother. Even when the mother tries to correct them, it traumatizes the children. And so that's why you need a father there, because a different love, a real love, comes through the father. And that love corrects. It doesn't traumatize. And boys and girls can handle that because it is love. But just in America today, they're putting women in control of the homes and everything, right? So if you hate your mother already, or grandmother, in the cases of a lot of black people because they're raised by their grandmother, but if you hate your mother already, how is it that you're expected to go to school, hear from a female teacher, and be okay with it? Hear from a female politician and be okay with it? Hear from a female boss and be okay with it? Hear from a female judge and be okay with it? If you already hate the spirit of the female, what makes you think it's going to work outside of the home? When male judges were in control, you didn't see this kind of stuff happening. When father was in control of the home, of his wife and the home and the children, you didn't see this kind of stuff happening. When men were in control of the schools, you didn't see these things happening. That's happening in the schools now. Teachers are getting beat up every day. ABC has reported that a Nevada judge was attacked Wednesday by a defendant who leaped over the judge's bench, sparking a bloody brawl. Watch this from ABC.
Chaos erupts in a Las Vegas courtroom.
What the?
As a man about to be sentenced attacks the judge. Take another look in slow motion as the man flies right over the bench and tackles the judge to the ground. It all began earlier during a hearing for 30-year-old Deobra Redden. He's a three-time felon, now facing a charge of battery on a protected person inflicting great bodily harm. His attorney is seen here asking the judge for probation instead of a prison sentence. But Judge Mary Kay Holtis has other thoughts.
I appreciate that, but I think it's time that he gets a taste of something else, because I just can't with that history. In accordance with the laws of the state of Nevada, this court...
What the? Amazing. What the? White people, y'all don't have a chance anymore. It's over. Sorry. You have given it to fear. And this is what you're getting. And black people have been encouraged to hate you and to blame you for their failure in life, their inability. And this is what you're now getting. I've never seen anyone jump across the bench, over the bench, and attack the judge. But she's like, no, I'm not going to let him get away with this. We got to give him a little more taste or something. The judge is like, I think it's time he gets a taste of something else. She was right about that. If he guilty of all the crimes and all that, he need to be in prison. But she's white. She can't do that now. Blacks have been trained that rather than listen to the white people, attack them. And so when the judge got up from getting beat up, did she say, I changed my mind? I ain't going to give you no taste of anything, buddy. You black. You black. I wonder if that helped this case at all. I've never seen that before. Jumped across the bench. This is what the blacks do when the cops stop them. They get a cop's attitude. They overreact. And the cop gets blamed for it. What this old world coming to, things just ain't the same. Do you have fear? This is Bible Thumping Thursday. Do you have fear? Even if you don't want to say it out loud so others can hear it, you should admit it to yourself. Because the one thing I know for sure and without a doubt, that everyone who has anger has fear. And I don't mean fear of, you're going down into the hood, you got to protect yourself. I don't mean that. I don't mean practical fear. I mean like fear that lives in you, that makes you afraid of others, makes you afraid to deal with life, and you're uncomfortable and stuff like that. Inwardly, do you have it? And you're never going to overcome it until you admit that it's there. You got to admit that it's there, and then you start to overcome it. A YouTuber went out and asked that question, what is your biggest fear? Watch this from Dr. Robin Wallace. Watch this.
What is your biggest fear?
Not making it in life with the things I wanted to do.
Deep water that I can't see the bottom of, and like sharks specifically.
My biggest fear is probably like dying.
I guess dying.
I would say the same thing. Like death is pretty scary. Like I don't like to think about it.
I guess I would be afraid of like leaving people behind.
No. I think dying is a part of life. So when death comes, it'll come, and you just have to live life to its fullest, right?
I'm not. It is what it is. If life happens, it happens. My husband and I actually had this conversation a couple days ago that when we get old enough to the point that we're not functioning anymore, I would prefer to be happily killed or whatever the right, euthanized, instead of being held on.
Amazing. What is your fear? What is your fear? And there are some people who don't believe in forgiveness. I understand it. So limit your hell. Really. Some people think unforgiveness, I ain't gonna do that. I need my anger to take action. I need anger to motivate me. I need anger, they say. There are literally people who do not, most people don't, to be honest with you. They don't believe in forgiveness. Even when they say it, they don't believe it. They just playing. There are some people who do not believe in forgiveness. There's this, I guess, a YouTuber. This is from wildtruth.net. Daniel Mackler is a musician, filmmaker, YouTuber, and writer who also worked for 10 years as a psychotherapist. Think about that. A psycho going to a psycho. He worked as a psychotherapist in New York, where Daniel Mackler apparently does not believe in forgiveness. Watch this.
This morning, I was drinking my cup of tea, and on the tag on the tea bag, there's always a little saying, a little spiritual saying. And this morning, I did not like the saying. It said, forgiveness is an act of consciousness. And I thought, ugh, it made me want to, well, throw away the tea, let's put it that way. And why would I say such a thing? Everybody loves forgiveness. It's such a kind thing to do. It's a mature thing to do. It's a conscious thing to do. People from time to time tell me, I need to forgive. You need to forgive your parents. And I don't agree. Actually, what I have found in my life is that not forgiving my parents is the thing that saved my life.
Amazing. He thinks that his life is saved by not forgiving. What life is he talking about? Amazing.
He talks like an angry person.
I know.
He's all like, he just talks like an angry person.
And doesn't even see it. Here's Daniel talking about his parents. Watch this from Daniel Mackler.
They did a lot of crazy and horrible and unethical things to me, yet I needed them. I was dependent on them. I was emotionally dependent on them. I was financially dependent upon them. So I had to forgive them. I spent my childhood, my teen years, forgiving my parents because I had to. And this is a big part of why I became traumatized. People out in the world sometimes tell me, oh, you need to forgive your parents. They're not saying forgive your parents. What they're saying is dissociate. They're saying split off your feelings. They're saying push your feelings down, bury them, go into denial, even become spiritual. Oh, it's a spiritually positive thing. You're a brave person to forgive. No, you're not a brave person to forgive. You're a brave person not to forgive. I have to empathize with me. I have to feel my own feelings. And that's been the only thing that's helped me grow.
Amazing. Poor Daniel Mackler. Don't blame him. He born with a silver spoon in his mouth. Quote unquote. That is so unfortunate, but I understand it. This is the one where our government, the government of the United States of America, is passing laws to make sure that legally there is nothing but confusion in America. And people are moving underground now because the whites are moving underground and they're leaving the top of the ground to the blacks to make sure. So they're passing laws to make sure that there's nothing but confusion, arguing, fighting one another. And while they're doing that, while you're fighting one another because you're too silly to pay attention to what's happening, they're like building underground and doing other things. They're making money from your blindness. Listen to this, what just happened in California, as though this is what is needed in California. Of all the things, of all the laws that they could have come up with, this is the best that they can do. Fox was reporting that California employees would officially have protection from discrimination based on their use of marijuana. And there are people who are marijuana salespeople. That's their career. Hi, this is my son. He's 30 years old. And, oh, yeah? What do you do, son? My career, I sell marijuana.
What the?
That's my career. California employees will officially have protection from discrimination based on their use of marijuana while off the clock. So now your boss can't even ask if you've been smoking some pot. Not only at home, accordingly, it will become illegal for employees to ask potential employees if they have used marijuana. Watch this from CBS.
California workers will soon be protected if they use marijuana. A new law that takes effect January 1st protects workers who use cannabis when they're not on the job.
For years, people would take a drug test and they would fail if they had smoked out of one of these within 30 days of taking a test. But because of this new law, you'd actually be protected if you smoke out of one of these and take a drug test tomorrow. Starting January 1st, California employers can still drug test potential and current employees. But unless a person is high when they take the test, it'll be against the law to punish them for having cannabis in their system.
The new law just reinforces that employees who are using marijuana, smoking marijuana for recreational purposes are going to be allowed to continue to do
like
that.
I don't know. Isn't that amazing? And look at all female reporting the bad news. So now employers, your employees could be high at work. and you can't say anything. Why do you think the government would pass a law like that? Is it to bring harmony into the business or bring confusion? Who would sit around and think, you know what? I'm the government. What can I do to make things worse? I know I'm going to get a bill passed where you can smoke marijuana while at work or off work, and they can't ask you about it. They do a drug test, and they find out that you are high, or you were high last night. Yeah, I was high last night, and you better get one of those buckles while they're cheap. Alcoholic Anonymous. First of all, let me introduce to you what it is. This is from Stanford. Y'all heard it. Everybody and their mama go to Alcoholic Anonymous, and they've been going for years and years. Ain't nothing getting better. This is from Stanford, explaining what it is. Am I right about that?
That's right.
Okay, watch this.
Alcoholics Anonymous is an international fellowship of people who have struggled with alcohol addiction. AA's approach is based on the 12 steps. Go to any AA meeting and you'll probably meet people who tell you that AA is the only reason they're alive and sober today.
For some people, it's, I need a fellowship of people who don't drink. I will not have to worry when I'm around them that anyone will pull out a bottle or offer me a drink, and they will specifically support me in that goal of mine. You can walk into a meeting feeling very, just down on yourself and destitute, and then you see somebody who is like you now, but they're doing great. And they may tell their story of, I was, drinking and I lost my marriage and my job, and you're there like, oh my gosh, that sounds like me. And now I'm doing great and I'm in recovery and I pulled things back together with my wife and I've got a good job and I'm close to my kids again. That feels really good. That inspires hope.
What do you think about that?
If you actually look at the statistics of Alcoholics Anonymous, it's actually remarkable how many people it helps. It's obviously a worldwide program.
I have family members that have been going there since I was born.
Right. Some people will call it a springboard to a spiritual life. It's the introduction for people to what a spiritual life would look like. Because before that, they're just in a completely lost physical world. Lost in the physical world, And so obviously we're not knocking anyone who's trying anything. Well,
no.
In our.
I'm just saying you're pitiful. I'm not knocking you.
Yeah.
But, and I know friends, I know family members who have, some of them really been going to alcohol since I was a teenager. Well, since I was in my 20s.
Right.
I know people who still go there.
Yeah.
And it's been around. How long has it been around? Do you know?
I want to say
he's one of the experts as well.
I'll make sure, but it's sometime around the middle of the last.
Okay.
Century.
And most people believe that it's successful because they hook you up with a non-drinking person who is an alcoholic or drug addict, and
late 1930s.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Wow, it's been around a long time. See, I told you, I know people who have been a part of the program for years.
Yep.
And it's interesting too. They still call themselves an alcoholic.
Well, that's the part of this segment that I found most interesting when comparing Alcoholics Anonymous to your message, for example, is, at no point, as far as I know, I've never been to a meeting, but as far as I know, at no point do they say, this is not you. In fact, there's certain of the 12 steps that talk about your wrongs in life, how you've done wrong. And you have to make amends for those wrongs that you've done.
But what I don't understand is because I'm black and slow, why do they call it success if you are scared to be around another person that's drinking, even at a party or at home, I guess, or anywhere. Because if it's a success, that means that you could be working at a liquor store and not take a drink.
Yeah, I mean, I can't speak for everybody who's ever been in the program. I can't say that everyone who's in AA is scared to be around people who drink. I know people who have been in AA for a long time. They're around people who drink all the time.
Right.
And it's not a problem.
Because it worked for them.
Right.
Okay. Here are they have like a 12-step program, right?
Right.
And here are the 12 steps. This is for more than rehab.
Step 1. We admitted we were powerless over alcohol, that our lives had become unmanageable. Step 2. Came to believe that a power greater than ourselves could restore us to sanity. Step 3. Made a decision to turn our will and our lives over to the care of God as we understood Him. Step 4. Made a searching and fearless moral inventory of ourselves. Step 5. Admitted to God, to ourselves, and to another human being the exact nature of our wrongs. Step 6. We're entirely ready to have God remove all of these defects of character. Step 7. Humbly ask Him to remove our shortcomings. Step 8. Made a list of all persons we had harmed and became willing to make amends to them all. Step 9. Made direct amends to such people wherever possible. Step 10. Continued to take personal inventory, and when we were wrong, promptly admitted it. Step 11. Sought through prayer and meditation to improve our conscious contact with God as we understood Him, praying only for knowledge of His will for us and the power to carry that out. And step 12. Having had a spiritual awakening as the result of these steps, we tried to carry this message to alcoholics and practice these principles in all our affairs.
Amazing. And you say?
I say that obviously it takes you through some sort of a process where you have to, in earnest, go through each of these steps, and at the end you have a spiritual awakening. And the steps that I wanted to focus on in terms of our presentation of this is number 3 and number 5.
Number 3 is made a decision to turn our lives over to God as we understood Him.
Right. So, it's a good thing. They do talk about God in AA, which might be different than other recovery programs where they use all these big words and, tell you that you're this, that, or the other thing. In AA, they actually encourage you to look to a higher power. But at the same time, you could say that made a decision to turn our lives over to God as we understood Him. His ways are not our ways. It's not encouraging people to try to understand God is like trying to put out a fire with gasoline. It's like it's like people who have anxiety and they worry about their anxiety. It's like trying to understand Him might be more frustrating than.
I heard that. Made a decision to turn our lives over to God as you understood. Nobody understand God.
Yeah, it says it right there in the scripture.
Yeah, Isaiah 5:55, right? Isaiah 55. For my thoughts are not your thoughts. That's so deep and so true, but so misunderstood by people. For my thoughts are not your thoughts, nor are your ways my ways. And then Proverbs 3 said, do not lean on your own understanding.
So, yeah, so this might be one of those situations where people, think about God as they understand Him, and they're sort of setting up their own standards for themselves. They're setting up their own boundaries, and when you do that, you're bound to fail.
Fall into the bottle.
Right.
You're bound to fall into the bottle.
Some people. Yep. And they don't just use this for alcohol either. This 12-step program is used for all other types of drugs too, narcotics.
Is it like going to church?
A little bit, yeah. It's like a fellowship. That's why, like the guy said, you're in a space where you're with other people who have been through similar things, and you're able to fellowship with them in an anonymous way. Obviously, it's your face, but you don't have to use your last name. You're just Greg. You're just Stacy.
Amazing.
But like you always say, they do encourage you to say, I am an alcoholic.
As long as you say that, you're going to always be an alcoholic. You're justified by your words and you're condemned by them.
Yeah. It might just be a way of getting people to be honest about their problem. At first. There's nothing wrong with that, but the other step that I thought was interesting, was number 5. Admitted to God, to ourselves, and to another human being the exact nature of our wrongs. This is related again to the fact that they never say it's not you. It's never been you. It's not you. It's never been you.
Yeah.
Because we have never done wrong.
Isn't that amazing that they have you, or not just anonymous, but they have you admitting to doing wrong when you never have done wrong in your whole life, can't do wrong, won't do wrong, ain't gonna do wrong, and they tell you to admit to something like that?
Yeah. And, like I said, I've never had experience with this particular program. But if it gets you to at least start examining your life, the steps might not be completely perfect. It might not have 100% success rate.
Might not, you think?
Whatever that means. But
I don't know.
But at the end of the day, if it gets you to at least start looking at yourself and start examining your life, that's a good thing.
What? One guy doesn't think AA works, right? I guess he went through it. Did he go through the program?
He had, and this is a testimony from a lifelong alcoholic, at least one person who doesn't agree with the program.
But in all honesty, no matter how great the program is, or any program really, if it works or not, you can always find people that's not going to work for, and they're going to walk away and say, oh, it doesn't work. And they don't tell you they didn't put the work into it, they didn't do this or do that. They just blame the program for not helping them.
Of course, yeah. And he talks about, where it comes from, too. He talks about his parents in this clip.
Oh, this guy does?
Yeah.
So I don't know about him, but I just know people are going to always find some fault in something. This is from Soft White Underbelly. Watch this.
My parents got divorced when I was around 2. He came back to the States. He was actually exited from the military because of mental illness. My mother happens to be mentally ill too. So for the 12 years he wasn't there, I grew up, especially in Germany, alcohol is a big culture. It didn't even occur to me that my mother was self-medicating. And by the time I was 12 years old, I was already drinking too. I went to an AA meeting once. You know what I felt like when I left? I actually wanted to drink even more. And that's exactly what I did. I went to the nearest liquor store and bought a drink. Because just sitting in that environment was so depressing and took so much emotion out of you that it actually was draining and I needed a drink. I almost felt like I had to restore myself. So the place that should have helped me actually made me want to drink even more.
Amazing. But just because it didn't work for him, that doesn't mean the program doesn't work.
No, and there's a lot of common sayings that they use in Alcoholics Anonymous. One day at a time, progress, not perfection, let go, let God.
Right.
There are a lot of common sayings that might have some overlap with some of the stuff, we might tell people.
And so once again, when they say it's successful, it just means that there are people who go through the program and they stop drinking.
Right.
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 Okay.
It says nothing about, anything beyond that. That's the purpose of the program.
Nice.
Is to get you sober.
Right on.
Beyond that, it's really up to you. My favorite one of these sayings that I love that I've heard from this program, they say, your best thinking got you here. You know, for people who say, isn't that interesting?
Meaning that, what do you mean by that?
They say, like, you know, you can't think your way out of this, in other words. So they say, you know, if you think that you can think your way out of this, just know that your best thinking got you here.
Oh, okay. That makes sense.
Got you where you are.
Right on.
And
nice.
One more interesting thing.
Okay.
One more interesting thing is that some people say that these sayings that they have in Alcoholics Anonymous that they ask you to keep on your mind, some people say that they're very cliche, that they're very, you know, common and cliche. But the more cliche they are, the more true they are. So one day at a time is something everyone says all the time. It's cliche,
right?
But that's one of the truer ones than any of them.
Right.
It's like the more cliche it is, the more true it is.
That's right. That guy that we just played that said it didn't work for him, he looked like he had parents issues. He didn't forgive his mama.
Right.
He got some other issues you need to deal with as well.
Right.
It sounds like.
Right.
Amazing. Well, I wish y'all well with the Alcoholics Anonymous thing.
The last thing?
Yes.
The Serenity Prayer. Have you ever heard of the Serenity Prayer?
I've heard of it, yeah.
You've heard of it, right?
Yeah.
God, grant me the serenity to accept the things I cannot change, the courage to change the things I can, and the wisdom to know the difference between the things that I can change and the things that I can't change.
Nice.
That's like central.
Oh yeah, that's part of Alcoholics Anonymous.
Oh, that is pretty much like the message. Serenity, state of utter calm and unruffled repose or quietude. Do we have like one more minute?
Yes, sir. You the boss. You the producer. What the?
Well, I've said this on the program before, but that poem "Waiting" by John Burroughs.
I keep waiting on the world to change.
Yes.
Keep on waiting on the world to change. That one?
No, but that's a good one too.
What the?
"Waiting" by John Burroughs. It's a poem.
Oh, okay.
Do you want to hear it?
Yes.
Serene, I fold my hands and wait, nor care for wind, nor tide, nor sea. I rave no more 'gainst time or fate, for lo, my own shall come to me. I stay my haste, I make delays, for what avails this eager pace? I stand amid the eternal ways, and what is mine shall know my face. Asleep, awake by night or day, the friends I seek are seeking me. No wind can drive my bark astray, nor change the tide of destiny. What matter if I stand alone? I wait with joy the coming years. My heart shall reap where it hath sown, and garner up its fruit of tears. The waters know their own, and draw the brook that springs in yonder height. So flows the good with equal law onto the soul of pure delight. The stars come nightly to the sky, the tidal wave onto the sea. Nor time, nor space, nor deep, nor high can keep my own away from me.
Amazing. Who is that?
John Burroughs.
Right on. Very nice.
Yep.
Deep.
Deep, right?
Yeah. Amazing. Nice.
Yeah, so...
Well, I wish the people at the program well.
Right.
The Alcoholic program.
Yeah, no matter what program you're in.
Right.
Whatever is meant for you can't be stopped.
That's right.
It will come to you no matter what.
Absolutely, man.
Right?
Amazing. My